Hey everyone, and welcome back. By this point, you should have GNU Octave installed on your computer and have our files downloaded, which you'll see on my screen right now. Now, we can move along to our first step to get started with coding on Octave. The first step is going to be setting up our directory, or in other words, the location on your computer in which Octave will read its files from. To begin, I'm going to go to the folder that we downloaded called Beach Profiles and open that up. Then I'm going to look for the GNU Octave script called beach_profiles and open that up. When you open that up, you should get a screen that looks similar to mine here. I'm just going to modify it a little bit to make it a little bit easier to see. So before we move on with setting up our directory, I want to point out a few areas of interest in Octave. On the right hand side, under the editor tab down at the bottom here, you will find the code to the script that we opened up. Another thing that we want to know is that there are a lot of different colors and a lot of different text on here. So a very simple way to look at this is if you see something that is green, like line 1 here, this just means that green is notes or something that we added on as additional text for us to have. Anything that isn't green is part of the script that we can manipulate. So as we move along through the session, I will demonstrate what lines of code we want to manipulate and describe what our manipulation is doing. To the left of the editor tab, we have what is called the command window. And the command window is the area in which we will execute our code when we are ready. We will revisit the command window in the next step. So I'm going to go ahead and go back over to the editor tab. As mentioned earlier, our first step is setting up our directory to let Octave know where it should be reading its files from. If you come on over to the top left of your Octave screen, you'll see something called the current directory. We want to get this current directory and paste it over into our Octave script to let Octave know that is where we want to grab our files from. One thing that I do want to point out though is that your current directory will not look exactly the same as mine as we are using different computers. But the process in changing your directory in the script is still going to be the exact same. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this whole current directory and copy it. And then I'm going to go over to line 12 within our script. So if I look over on the side here, I find line 12 and it starts with dir is equal to, and then it has add current directory here, beach profile data. So what I want to do is I'm going to want to highlight this area where it says add current directory here, including the brackets, and I'm going to want to replace it with the current directory that I copied from above here. A few things to note. Make sure you do not delete this area here that says \beach profile data, as that is the Excel sheet that we are going to want to read our data from. Another thing is you do not want to delete these apostrophes because then it won't read the directory properly. You can also see if you've made a mistake by seeing if your text is yellow or not. So if it is not yellow, that means you must have deleted an apostrophe or something is wrong with your line. So you might want to go back and check that out. So now that I have my current directory set, that's it. Octave now knows where it wants to read its files from. So now that you have your current directory set in line 12, Octave now knows where it wants to read its files from. So once you're done, it should look something similar to what I have here in line 12. What our line of code is now telling Octave to do is set our current directory to the current directory above, and then within that directory, pull information from the Excel sheet that we have titled Beach Profile Data. When you're ready to give the first step a shot, move on over to the next slide to get started.